Hola, bienvenidos a Coffee or Beer Podcast presenta
Wine Edition.
Ahora les vamos a traer, aquí estamos en la Vineyard de Wisconsin Dells, de Baraboo, cerca de Wisconsin Dells. Vamos a calar sus vinos a ver cómo están.
para ver si les podemos dar alguna recomendación ya sé si les gustan dulces, suaves, secos, mojados, ya sea moscatos o red wines o blancos, o el cual.
So, I'm going to start. Are you taping it now?
Yeah, I'm taping it. So yeah.
Okay, the first one I have on the list for you is called our Petite Pearl. Petite Pearl is an estate wine. So these are the grapes that are growing right off there to the right.
Okay.
This one here is a dry red. It may have a little bit of a tartness at the end. I'll just give you guys a smaller pour if you're not familiar with the drier wines.
Okay.
This one here would pair with your red meats. Chocolates are good with dry wines. Did you get a tartness at the end?
Yeah. It's dry, but it's actually good.
It is.
It doesn't.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
He does an excellent job with them.
It's like.
It's good. Try. It is good.
I can give you guys some counsel so that if you want to make little notes
Yeah,
on
I did,
which
yeah,
ones you
perfect.
like, or did I give you some?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the Petite Pearl.
Yes, I'll go in order for them. The next one I have is called Color Me Cab. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's made with the Cabernet grape that we get from New York. All of our wines are made and bottled here. This one here's a dry red. Excellent with steaks. It's a rich, a little bit more of a full body than the last one was.
Good. Este es un poquito más seco que el otro. Este no es tan ácido. Yeah, it's good.
Some people like to rinse in between. I'm going to go into the white wines now,
Into
so
the
you
white.
can. There's water in the bucket there. If you want to rinse, you can.
Thank
you don't
you.
have to.
This one have more
Has an oaky taste, a little bit more of an oak to it.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
even the color is more dark too.
Yes, it's a rich, beautiful, beautiful color. Okay, the next one I have for you is one of my favorites. It's called the Pinot Grigio. It's made with the Pinot Grigio grape that we get from New York also. This one here is a dry white. You may taste a lemony pear at the finish.
So it's made only
como dulce, pero seco al mismo tiempo. Es como dulce, pero seco al mismo tiempo.
How did you like that
Pero
one?
tiene, it's good. It's
It's
like dry, but
It's
a
sweet
little
at
bit
the
of
same time.
sweetness, and
Yes, yes, it's
It's good, yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
it tastes really good.
This one's good.
It's gonna be for you.
Oh, okay.
Estos vinos son especialmente aquí hechos con uvas de las que hay en los viñeros. Ahorita les pondremos unas fotos, unos cortos.
También les vamos a poner el menú, pues.
El
No,
menú.
no hacen tours dentro de los viñeros, o sea, en las uvas directamente, pero están aquí. Aquí están los plantíos y aquí pues aquí
Ustedes
las producen
cultivan.
pues para embotellar los vinos. De los tres que hemos probado me han gustado.
El tercero.
A mí me gustó el primero, el Petite Pearl y el Pinto Giorgio.
A mí el tercero,
No,
hasta
yo-
ahorita es el que siento más
Sí, a mí el blanco me gustó mucho, la verdad.
El blanco está bueno, sí, está bueno.
Pinto Giro.
Pues quiero llevar a este, el Sweet Girlfriend,
Okay.
el Sweet White, el The Girlfriend. A ver cómo sabe eso, porque está dulce. El blanco también.
Have you heard things about our winery before? Or?
We look for the winery online, to be honest, but we got we want to try to taste them. So
Sure.
yeah,
That's the best way because you just don't know what you like until you try them.
yeah, because we got a mini collection, like, so we getting some wine from here and there. So yeah.
Okay, the next one I have for you is called our Rose of the Bluff. The Rose of the Bluff is a rosé, but this also is an estate wine. So when I tell you it's an estate wine, it means that we do grow the grapes here. So this one here is made with that Petite Pearl grape and the St. Pepin grape that we grow here. This one has a cherry apricot finish. And when I tell you it has a finish of a certain fruit, there actually are no fruits in here other than the grapes. So it gets its flavor from the grapes that he uses in the wines. So this one, it's not dry and it's not sweet. It's a rosé.
It's not that sweet, but it's good.
It's refreshing. It's a
Yeah,
nice,
it's refreshing because-
drink. You know, for the summer, it's sitting outside.
Yeah.
It'd be wonderful.
It's nice to be outside with a cup of wine. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's really good. I like it.
The next one I have for you also is an estate wine. This one here is called the Prairie Star. Prairie Star is an estate wine and it is made with the Prairie Star grape. So the name of the wine is the same as the grape. This one here has a crisp green apple finish to it. It's probably the closest to a Riesling that we have. This one here, if you'll notice, it is so crystal clear. I kind of joke around,
Oh,
tell
yeah.
people you could put it in a water bottle and no one would know
No
you're
one-
drinking.
yeah.
No one would know you're drinking wine here.
That's a good tip.
Yeah. So this one here is really very good. But then I think all of them are so. Do you get that crisp
Yeah, you get a
green?
little bit of apple. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
a crisp, it's just light. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
like
light,
a lot
but-
of wineries, if you go to and they say they have a green apple wine, they may use like green apples in it or regular fruit in them.
Yeah,
So that's where ours differs from
Yeah,
some
but
of
you do
theirs.
get
But it
a little-
tastes-
you do
it
get a
tastes
little
good,
crispy,
yeah.
At the end. It's good.
What's the percentage of alcohol? level?
Alcohol, most of them are between 11 and 12% alcohol.
Okay.
that's not much. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, the next one we have is called the Angel. The Angel's made with a Vineyard grape that we get from New York. The name Angel is after the owner's wife's maiden name was Angel, and that was how it was spelled with the 2 L's. So this one here is kind of a citrusy wine. It has you may taste hints of pineapple grapefruit finish to it. You can probably smell, I smell a lot of times, I could smell like a grapefruit.
Mm-hmm.
Smells good.
Yeah, it
Smell
is.
like a grape. Yeah.
We use that one a lot. We have wine slushies during the summertime, so we'll use that one in our wine slushies. A lot of people
It tastes.
would like it for cooking and making like fish sauces because it's
Oh
got the
yeah, yeah,
citrus
yeah.
in
It
it.
tastes like yeah.
So that's really good.
Es un poquito más ácido que los demás.
Sí. Se
Pero
siente.
no tiene un
Pero
sabor
se siente.
seco feo. Tiene un sabor seco bueno. Yeah.
The next one I have is called Baraboo Blush. Baraboo Blush is made with an Isabella grape. This one here has a strawberry finish. Blushes can tend to be a little bit sweeter, but you'll notice when you drink this one, you'll have a sweetness on the front of your tongue, and as you swallow, you may pull a tartness or a dryness. It kind of balances it out so it keeps it from being too sweet. It's just a nice, refreshing blush. Did you pull that tart?
It's really, really refreshing. This.
Did you taste the
Yeah.
tartness at the end? Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I like it. It's really good.
The next one I have for you is called the Tropical State of Mind. Tropical State of Mind is made with a blend of grapes. It's made with the Isabella, the Vineyard, and the Niagara grape. Niagara grape is a grape that Welch's makes their white grape juice. So you may taste a lot. You may taste some tropical fruits in here, but you also may taste and smell like the strong
Like the
Welch's grape juice type. Yes.
It smells good.
Yes, it's a very easy one, and probably be one that if you were just introducing somebody to wine, that would be an easy one too.
This is really good.
This is really
I
good.
like it.
Cinnamon.
You probably pull different things. You could taste that in there. Everybody's taste buds are different, you know.
It's good though.
Yes, you probably could pull that out of there, but.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay.
Spicy seed.
The next one I have for you is called the Girlfriend Wine. The Girlfriend Wine is our #1 selling wine.
I need one of those.
This one here, the Girlfriend Wine, when Fred, our winemaker, was making all the wines, he was making drier wines, and 2 of the boys were dating these 2 girls. That's their actual pictures. These 2 girls, and they liked the sweeter wine, so he made them their own and called it the Girlfriend Wine. Now, Casey's married to Chelsea, and they have 2 little boys, and Cody's married to Amber, and they have a little boy and a little girl. So this one here does have added fruit in it. This one has mango added to it. Otherwise, it's made with an Aurora grape. That's our only
Story.
wine that has added fruit to it.
It smells good.
It is. It's one of my favorites.
Wow.
Oh, this
This
is
is
sweet.
like mango.
Good.
Yeah.
This one's good.
Yeah, you can feel the mango.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It tastes like a mango. That is good.
During the summertime, like this summer, he makes a smaller batch of the Peach Girlfriend. So we do have one that's called Peach Girlfriend that he puts peach in. But
Pitch on it.
yeah, but this is our mango one. The last one I have for you on our list is called Simply Sweet. Simply Sweet is a dessert wine, so we're giving you a chocolate to eat with it. So you take a sip of the wine, and a bite of the chocolate and a sip of the wine, and it tastes like a chocolate-covered cherry. So we just recommend you take a sip first because that way you can taste what the wine actually tastes like before you get the chocolate in your mouth. So we have, excuse me.
Okay.
Ese último estaba bueno, ¿eh?
El último to girlfriends recomendado.
Las girlfriends está bueno porque además hay una historia detrás de él.
Sí, está chido.
Está bien, está bien.
So Simply Sweet is made with a Chancellor grape, and you may taste hints of black cherry, raspberry. So you take a sip of the wine, and a bite of the chocolate, and a sip of the wine, and it sip, bite, sip. We get our chocolates from the Bearded Candy Company. They're the ones that make the cow pies. They're up on AD across from the casino up there.
That's good.
Wow. After the bite,
Yeah,
it tastes more the flavor.
yeah. I always tell people they could buy a bottle of the wine and buy some chocolates, and you wouldn't have to make a cake or
Dessert,
pie.
yeah,
or, you
yeah,
just
yeah.
put it on the table, and
This is a good dessert.
yeah, it is very good.
I like all the wines. They do the job. The red dry is red dry. Nice color, nice flavors, nice smells. The sweets are really good. I like the Blush Isabella, the red one, sweet, semi-sweet. That was a hit after the taste.
Okay, yeah.
The two girlfriends, I love it. I'm gonna take a bottle of that one. And the final one, I really like it to be like with company.
Yes.
And
As an afternoon,
I will
having a
say-
dessert.
yeah, after dinner and a bonfire,
Oh yes, it's
Oh.
with the chocolates, with the cookies.
great. You could the s'mores. You
Yes.
could do the s'mores with that. Yep, that'd be very good.
Yeah, that,
Very
it-
good.
Camping.
that is good. Actually.
It make you trouble, but it's good.
It is very good.
Ok, pues díganme cuál vino fue el que les gustó más y por qué. ¿Cómo lo sintieron todos, de hecho?
Bien, fíjate que hacen el trabajo, el seco es seco, como ella dijo, el seco sí es seco y como que sí sientes el paso de la uva.
Pero fíjate que son secos, pero hay vinos que son todavía más secos, güey. Yo he probado vinos todavía mucho más secos. Y estos son entre secos y un poquito ácidos, pero saben buenos, güey. O sea, tienen un buen shake. Y ahí, entre eso, hay unos que son secos, pero es como ese intermedio de sweetness cuando lo pruebas. O sea, está como seco, pero al final te queda un taste como sweet, aunque no sea sweet el vino.
El primero que nos dio el Petite Pearl, ese estaba seco, pero estaba
Petite
sweet,
Pearl,
estaba
ajá,
sweet ya al último, te daba un
te da
saborcito.
un sabor y oscuro, o sea,
No te
seco,
dejaba-
oscuro, pero esa dark al final que te queda, está,
No te dejaba seco.
ajá, no te seca la boca como lo hacen muchos otros vinos. Que las cantidades de alcohol no son tantas tampoco las que contienen.
No, tiene 11 a 12.
11, 12, o sea, este intermedio está bien. La mayoría tienen 14 o así, o sea, está bien.
No está tan mal, está chido.
¿Cuál otro? A mí me gustaron varios. El único que casi no me, o sea, que está bueno, pero no tanto, es el Color Me Cab. Ese no es como de mis favoritos de los que probamos ahorita, pero está, o sea, es igual un vino seco, pero no tan seco al final. O sea, está bueno. Bueno, he recomendado este Baraboo Bluff Winery porque
Tiene muchos dones porque
tiene
si te gusta rojo, sweet, blanco, que te guste,
rosé o cualquier aquí.
tienen buenos.
Tienen 10 diferentes aquí.
Vale.
No, ella nos dio a probar 10 vinos diferentes. Aquí tienen 10 y en la que tienen en Downtown tienen 9 vinos solamente. Algunos de estos están creados con uvas de Nueva York, 2 de ellos creo, y los demás son frutas locales y frutos locales.
Y frutas de aquí, de ellos
De ellos
mismos.
producen mucho. Entonces sí, pero la verdad es que el Rose of the Blue, ese también está bueno, o sea, la verdad es que todos estaban buenos.
El Rose of the Blue estaba bien refrescante. Ese
Ese es como para estar en una pinche tardeada así, tomando un vinito
Sí.
afuera, güey.
si a ese le pusieran burbujitas, sería una
Sí, para
champaña muy
champaña.
sabrosa, güey. Una champaña
Es
muy
lo único que
deliciosa.
tal vez no producen, pero sí están buenos como para que fueran burbujeantes.
Ujú.
Pero varios de ellos son refrescantes y te dejan esa sensación de frescura en el paladar, en la boca, pues.
Sí.
Está muy bueno, está muy bueno.
A mí el que me gustó mucho fue el de las novias, el de las amigas.
Son
No,
novias.
no.
Las girlfriends eran las novias. Esa es una historia real en la Vineyard de aquí, porque dos hermanos estaban saliendo con 2 chicas, pues, y a ella les gustaba más los vinos sweets, entonces esa pues está bien por
Hicieron un
parte de la
vino.
historia.
Está chido, es una buena historia. Y está bien bueno el vino, ¿eh?
Está bueno, es
Sí, es el que más me gustó de todos. Tiene un pequeño sabor así como que a mango al final, ya cuando lo pasas, me da un sabor a
Todos
fruta
nos
de
llevamos una
mango.
botellita.
más a frutas.
Todos nos llevamos
de hecho,
una botella de
los 3 compramos una de las novias porque una pues, es parte de la historia. Yo, por ejemplo, yo la compré porque la voy a dejar en mi colección, para mi colección.
Sí, me lo voy a
Entonces,
tomar.
no, sí podemos tomarlo, pues, pero me refiero a que es
Sí, la botella va a ser por
parte
colección.
de colección, pues, que puede que me la tome algún día con alguna.
¿Una novia?
Exactamente, solo por hacerle honor a la botella. Pero sí, están bastante buenos los vinos,
Sí, está recomendado también.
bastante recomendados. Es que ya saben, si son de cerca de Wisconsin,
Sí,
venir a esta
sí,
Vineyard
sí,
es
sí.
100% recomendado.
Sí.
Los vinos son bastante buenos, no se van a arrepentir.
Les recomendamos la Girlfriends.
De
Los
Girlfriend
Girlfriends.
es
Girlfriends.
recomendado por los 3, les gustó bastante. El otro también que es un poco refrescante, que fue el Rose of the Blue, ese también está bueno, o para una tardeada estar, pues, no sé, una puesta en el sol y estar echando vino, nomás una tarde sentado echando huevo afuera de tu casa.
Tu yarda.
Sí, güey, echando un vinito cuando se va a meter el sol, o para ir a la playita, o qué sé yo, ese es un bien frío y ya bastante recomendado para eso, porque es refrescante, te deja la sensación de frescura en la boca.
El último vino que nos dio se llamaba Simple Sweets. Fue el que probamos con el chocolate. Ese está también sabroso.
Ese está bueno porque es la combinación como para un dessert, para un postre, pues,
Para un postre amarguito.
amargo, dulce al mismo tiempo,
Ujú.
porque si te das el chocolate con el
El
sip de
vino.
wine,
Muy
está
sabroso.
bastante bueno.
¿Algo más que quieras agregar?
¿No? Sí, la verdad es que todos estuvieron muy buenos. No, yo creo que
Así nos
sería
despedimos.
todo y
Denle
recuerden
like.
darle like a este video si quieren más recomendaciones. Estaremos trayendo más recomendaciones de otros vinos, de otros
Lugares.
Comenten ahí abajo qué vinos les gustan, para ver si los probamos.
Les vamos a poner ahí, yo creo, la descripción.
Podemos traer una prueba de algún vino que quieran que probemos en especial y pues ya vemos dónde lo compramos para probarlo y darle nuestra opinión de eso. No olviden suscribirse, darle like al video y pues nada, suscríbanse, comenten ahí abajo sus vinos favoritos, les gustan secos, dulces, semisecos.
¿Con qué botana? ¿Con qué botana se los comen ustedes?
Si les gusta estar picante
¿Con qué
cuando toman vino. Y de hecho hay muchos vinos tintos o rojos que es, mira, si pruebas uno y no te gusta cómo sabe solo, no tienes que tirar la botella, combínalo, haz una bebida, haz un Sprite o Coca y es una bebida perfecta Cuando el vino está muy seco y que no te gusta, o que el simple sabor del vino seco no te gusta, combínalo con una de esas marcas de refresco y sabe bastante bien.
Así es.
Podcast, huh?
Yeah.
Man, you guys are younger than me. I just got into podcasts like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, really?
Nice. Oh, so you guys have a podcast for the...
No, I was like
Sure.
listening to them.
Oh, listen.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's a guy out in California. He's a winemaker. He's been a winemaker for a zillion years. I've been a winemaker for like 5. So I listen to his podcast. He knows a lot more than I do. So I like learning all these tips, and then he like interviews all these other winemakers.
Every tip counts, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions at all that I can answer you guys?
I don't know. Do any questions? Then is that right?
Are you the interviewee?
No. I don't know. You got the perfect English, you know.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So.
I really can't think of anything right now.
That's cool.
I don't know, like what's the process to making wine? You know, like just a little bit of simple.
Sure. You guys want to sit down?
Yeah.
Sí.
Where do you want me to sit? You
You can go in the middle. It's fine.
All right, cool. So for us, the winemaking part of it is, well, when we first opened, we used to buy grapes, and we used to buy grape juice. So if we're making white grape or red wine, we'll buy grapes. We have to bring them in, and we run those grapes through what's called a Distemer Crusher. And what it basically does is takes the grapes off the cluster, separates the stem from the grapes, and we just get down to berries. Then it kind of breaks each berry up, and then what we end up doing is pumping it right into a tank, and then we put the yeast in there, and then it starts fermenting. And so for red wines, if we pressed red grapes right away, chances are we'd end up with a pink color instead of a dark red. So what you're trying to do is you want to get all the grapes in the tank, you want to get them fermented. When the fermentation process happens, they're going to heat up, and the result of the heat for like 5 to 7 days, depending on what kind of variety you're looking for, the result of the heat is it's going to extract a lot of the colors from the skins. And then before the fermentation process is done, then what we end up doing is taking them back out of the tank, which is, for us, we're a new winery, so we don't have all the cooling equipment, so it's a lot of physical labor. But once we get it out, then we put it into a press, and we press it and separate the skins and the seeds from the juice, and then we let it finish fermenting. One other thing that we do too, a lot of dry red wines go through a process that's called malolactic fermentation. Am I getting too technical?
No,
All right, cool. So malolactic fermentation, the best way I can explain to people is that, so when the fermentation process is close to the end, we actually add a bacteria to the wine. And what that bacteria does is it eats all the lactic acid, malloacid. So malloacid is a typical acid you would get in an apple. You know, when you bite an apple, it's kind of tart, like a green apple. That's malic acid that you're tasting. And what this bacteria does, it eats the malic acid and converts it into lactic acid. And lactic acid is a lot smoother and creamier. That's the acid you find in milk products and dairy and cheese. So it's really kind of cool because these bacteria get in there and they start eating all the malic acid, and their byproduct is lactic acid. But then the end result is you end up getting a creamier, smoother red wine instead of one that's like really tart. Now, if you ever drink a red wine, it's really tart. Chances are it did not go through malolactic. It could be in many other things too. It could be acid levels too. But there's like 3 or 4 different kinds of acid in grape juice. So that's one of them that we can kind of convert into something else. Now, if we're doing red wine or white wine, and let's say we're doing it from our grapes, we have a good partnership and friendship with Wollersheim Winery. You guys stopped there yet?
No.
Dude, you got to totally check that place out. It is the bomb. And it's been around since the 1800s. They actually have a wine cave. Their facility is magnificent. It's beautiful. Their winemaker there, Philippe, and his daughter Celine, were so instrumental in helping us out. And it's just 20 minutes from here. So, when he first started helping out, I'm like, Philippe, man, what are you doing? You help me out. I'm 20 minutes from your door. And he's like, I just want you to make good wine. So hopefully I make 1 or 2 good enough to make him proud. And to this day, we kind of touch base every now and then, which has been great for me because he's been in the wine business. He's actually from France. Came here in the mid-'80s, and he has been making wine since he was a kid. His brother's into it. His uncle's into it. He's into it. So he's a multi-generation winemaker. So for me to get just to have his phone number is huge.
That's huge.
Yeah. So anyway, they have a really cool harvester. It's a machine that drives over the rows, and it actually pulls the grapes off the vines. We used to hand pick them the first few years, but then trying to coordinate that was always a nightmare, trying to get all these volunteers in and blah, blah. So anyways, white grapes. Back to the question, the process. So the white grapes, as soon as they come into the vineyard, we immediately press them, taking away the skins and the seeds, and then the end product is we have juice. Juice goes right into the tank, and then we start the fermentation process with by adding yeast to it, and then we control the temperature. A lot of our tanks are what's called jacketed, and what a jacketed tank would be is, the best way to explain it. Imagine you had a can of beer, and you had like a can coolie for it, but that can coolie plugged in and stayed cold all the time. Same thing with a jacketed tank. It's got like an extra layer of stainless steel on the outside. It's all enclosed, and we run glycochilling fluid through it so we can control the temperature inside the tank. Because if you can get a fermentation, one time when I wasn't paying attention, I had a fermentation that got over 100 degrees. That's way too hot. A lot of yeast can't survive that extreme heat. And then for white wines, you usually want to ferment at a colder temperature anyways, because otherwise, if it's too hot, you lose some of the aromatics that's in the grape. Am I killing you with too much information? All right.
I work. We make vinegar where I work, so I know a lot.
Oh, no kidding.
Fermentation process.
Dude, you know, my wife hates balsamic vinegar. I love it, right? So we were in Italy a couple years ago, and what they end up doing is they actually take wine and put it in a cask, and they let it just slowly evaporate until it turns into vinegar, and they charge $1 million for a bottle. Wow. I know, it's crazy. But I enjoy it, but she hates it, so not that I want to make anything else other than what we already got going on out here. Any other questions?
Okay, go ahead. You add any sweetener to the wine?
Absolutely.
Oh,
so,
you do. To make this sweet.
Yep, and I'll try not to get too technical, but bottom line is we take a measurement of our juice. Let's say we're making a white wine, so we press our grapes, now we're down to juice. We'll take a measurement, and we can calculate how much alcohol we're going to get for that. Now, we usually try to shoot somewhere between 11 to 13%. And then when the wine is done, let's say, for instance, we let it run all the way to 13%, which would normally be all the sugar, natural sugar that's in the wine. And then when it gets all the way down to zero and there's no sugar left, if it's too dry, we'll add sugar back to it right before the bottling. So yeah, absolutely. All our dry wines we don't. One of the things I like to do, and I think a lot of winemakers will do this, a lot of winemakers don't like to talk about it. It's called sugar back, because you do it on the back end. But it's just a final adjustment. You kind of get it the exact taste you're looking for. You guys did a tasting today. You tried the girlfriend.
Yeah, we tasted all of them, and
they're
really good.
Yeah. So the girlfriend, we bring that down, not completely to. We don't wait till it's completely out of sugar. We bring it down until it gets around 11.5, 12% alcohol. Leaves a little bit residual sugar, but if it wouldn't be sweet enough for a lot of people that like the girlfriend. So then right before bottling, we'll add sugar back to it to get it to the sweetness level we want to. And then we had the second wine you tried today, Petite Pearl, which was our estate wine from these grapes here behind us. That wine, if it sits on the vine long enough, the acid level will start drying or dropping down. Last year was a really short growing season. We got a lot of rain that was starting coming in. We were getting a little nervous. So we were like, let's get them off the vine. And we didn't have enough time for it to get down to the right acid level. So we fermented it completely dry, and it was really, really tart. So we ended up doing is adding just a little bit of sugar just to kind of break the acid down. Yeah. Kind of like lemonade. If you had lemonade without sugar, right? Yeah.
True. How long does it take for you to from the whole process to make a bottle of wine and get it ready to sell?
It all depends how hard I want to work.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's I would say that if it's a white wine, red wines are way more delicate and they take much more time. I mentioned the malolactic fermentation, and then of course then you're aging it on oak. So I mean, we've got barrels downstairs that wine's been in the barrels for 10 months now, and we'll probably wait till we get to 12 for those guys. For white wines, like the girlfriend, if I stay on top of it in fermentation, I don't have any problems with fermentation. A lot of things can go wrong, but if it goes smooth, I can probably get it in the bottle in 3 to 4 weeks maximum. Yeah.
Some wines take longer than others.
Yeah. The drier wines, especially the red ones, they're a little more delicate. But the sweeter wines, you've got a lot more flexibility to work with on them. So yeah. We actually have a truckload coming in today of grape juice that we bought from New York State. New York State's got a big grape growing area. As a matter of fact, when you drive through Wisconsin, you see all the cornfields. If you go out to Finger Lakes, New York, which is like Lake Erie parts heading eastbound. It's like they have grape fields like we have cornfields. It's just unbelievable. But a lot of them are like Concord and this Niagara grape that Welch's grape juice, or Welch's uses to make grape juice. But they also have wine grapes out there too. So there's a person that we partnered up with that he'll drive a big reefer truck out here, and we're getting 1,100 gallons of grape juice today. Yeah, and hopefully it'll be in the bottle in about 4 or 5 weeks. I want to be done bottling. It's with bottling, we don't have the money yet because we're pretty new, so we don't have an automated bottling line. If we did, it'd be 2 guys, one guy putting empty bottles in the front, and one guy taking full bottles off the back. Well, we have 5 guys because we have to do every station. So we've got like this, you take the bottle out of the case, it's empty, you sparge it with some CO2, then you put it on a bottle filler. We can only do 6 bottles at a time. Then we got a corker, which it's not like handle corkers. It's a pneumatic corker. You have to press the button, but still, it's like you put it in there, press the button, put it in there. And then after that, somebody's got to sit there and sit on the labeler, put a label on it and a capsule. Then somebody's got to put the top of the bottle through a heating element, and then put it back in the box, and then put it on a pallet. So we usually have 5 guys, but for us to do like 500 gallons, it's going to take us 4 hours. Yeah. So last year we probably made, I'm going to venture to guess 27, 55, 7. I'm going to do 8,000 gallons. So 8,000 gallons divided by 500, divided by 4 hours, divided by 5 guys, and then I have to give them beer when they're here because it's a Saturday. So then we go through. We never drink wine when we're bottling, it's always beer. So
That's good.
another big question I get asked a lot too is how long does it take for a grapevine to produce grapes? Now, when you leave, you take advantage of our angled driveway right there. That's a brand new vineyard we planted last year.
Okay.
So the vines are down here to the ground. So they're considered 2nd-year vine. Now, by the end of the year, end of this summer, they'll be all the way to the top wire, and then we'll pick whatever shoot, which will become the trunk, is the healthiest looking. We'll cut the other ones off, and then year 3, the little arms that come off the side are cordons. They'll grow along the wire, and that'll be the first year we get some fruit, but it's very minimal amount. It's not until like year 5 or 6 that you're going to start looking at getting 16 to 18 pounds of grapes per vine.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah,
a
so it takes quite a while. Yeah, like that first vineyard out here, I don't know if you guys had a chance to walk out there. We had some signs up there and stuff. That first vineyard was planted back in 2012, and we didn't open until 15.
Wow, that's a lot.
And do
There's a lot of time.
do they keep producing grapes, or do you
Yeah,
have to-
absolutely. There's actually a grapevine in England. It's like 120 years old. It's still producing grapes. But a lot of vineyards will pull them out because there's 2 schools of thought. One, you get a higher quality grape on older vines, but then at a certain point, you're just not getting the quantity. So at some point, you got to pull them out and then replant. Yeah, but hopefully I'll be retired by then, and my kids will be dealing with it. But I told them last year, I don't want to plant another grapevine. And we still have that whole field, that lower field along the road, all the way to the tree line is still ours. And that when that's all planted, that's when I'm out. That's what I told them. I'm retired. And they didn't want to plant anything this year. I don't know what their problem was. I thought they couldn't wait for me to leave.
Right. Oh, that's good. That's good.
I got a question.
Go.
You mentioned that you buy all your stuff from New York,
Nope.
like the grapes.
Well, we buy grape juice from New York, and if we buy grapes, we buy those. Well, we buy some grapes and some juice from the state of Washington. So, like our Cabernet and our Sangiovese, which are grapes that we can't grow here, we get those from Washington. We actually have a farmer that we partnered up with 2 years ago that we've had a great relationship with too. And then our Chardonnay and sometimes our Pinot Grigio will come from there as well. And this year, we have actually 2 wineries. We have another one that's right next to the Dells over by Kalahari Water Park.
Yeah, she mentioned.
Yeah, it's right on the other side of the interstate. That's kind of our party winery. We got a stage, we got live music all the time. We actually have food out there on the weekends and stuff. So I ordered a new red grape for that winery for next year, and then a new grape juice for that winery next year. But besides that, everything else will. If we don't grow it, if it doesn't come from Washington, which is a small part, maybe 20% of our total wines come from Washington, the rest will come from Finger Lakes. For now.
Nothing from California? Or...
No, we used to do California big time when we first started out. Some of the Cabernets and the Chardonnay and the Pinot Grigio, Riesling, we were all getting that from California. But you know, with the fires out there, you get up a smoke taint. You know, you put that on your podcast. I mean, you grow great grapes out there, but you know what? I fell in love with Washington. I'm a big Washington fan. And Jill and I, my wife Jill and I, we went out there. She's got a relative who lives in Oregon, so we went over to Washington and just kind of fell in love with it. We started drinking all these wines. I'm like, wow, these wines are really, really good. You know, and I'm not I like wine. I'm not a guy that you'll ever find me pay more than $30 for a bottle of wine. And I shouldn't even say that because I think we had one for $32 last month. So that means I wouldn't even pay for that. But usually I like to try to keep it reasonable. You know, for us, you know, Wisconsin, we got so many, Midwest, there's so many new wine drinkers, you know, in the area or in this part of the country. I mean, if you went out to California and did a wine tasting, you would be hard pressed to find a sweet wine or even a semi-sweet. You would just be tasting like 8 dry wines. But they're all different vintages and stuff, so they have all these different characteristics that they'll walk you through when you're tasting them. And you'll have just dry red wines. Very, very rarely would you end up having a sweet wine. Now, in Wisconsin or the Midwest in general, it's just the opposite. You're going to find more semi-sweet and sweet wines because we have to cater to our customers. But I always find, I've got, even Shirley back there that did your tasting, she was a sweet girl, and now she slowly went into drinking wine. And same for me. I mean, I remember back in the day, you know, well, high school, statute of limitations passed, I can say that. You know, I was drinking like Boone's Farm or Cold Duck, and these are all like kind of sweet wines you would drink out in the park, play some frisbee or whatever. But then when I got in my 20s, I went to semi-sweet like White Zinfandel. My big combo back then was like a glass White Zinfandel and some mini frozen Snicker bars. I still to this day think it's a great combination. And then as I got a little bit older, like into my 30s, next thing I know, I'm just drinking bulk dry wine. It all comes with food pairing too. I always try to tell my kids that. You know, I got a buddy who's like, oh man, I really like that girlfriend wine. It's the best thing. I'm like, dude, you should really try this semi-sweet, but try it with like some fish fry, and that's going to be really good too. But you got to do like the eating thing and the drinking thing together, and then it all kind of makes sense in your head, or at least on your palate, I should say.
That's good. That's good.
You don't make nothing with bubbles?
No, I don't, and the reason we don't is we don't have a bright tank. And I would like to. I've got a friend of mine that owns a winery in Ripon, Wisconsin, which is over towards Green Bay, Fond du Lac area. And he grows Petite Pearl as well. And he made a sparkling rosé. And it's, I mean, the nice thing about a sparkling wine, it really helps all the aromas of the wine to come out. Because otherwise, if it's still, you know, flat like all the wines you tried here, you know, you have to really kind of get your nose in there and swirl it around and kind of really be able to pick up all the aromas. But if you have a sparkling wine, it kind of releases a little bit more of that. Wollersheim just made a canned sparked white wine that is fantastic. I mean, just blows you away. It blows you away. You open it up and it's boom, it just hits you in the face and all you do is smell it. It's like awesome. But you have to have a bright tank, and a bright tank is a way to incorporate CO2 into the wine so it stays inside there so you can bottle it. And then after that, then you have a whole other bottling problem because you have to have a different closure with the wire thing on it. So that's just, I'll save that for the kids. Yeah. I don't want to get any deeper in.
You did your part already.
Yeah, more than enough.
You started, yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's nice. It's a family thing then?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have, well, my wife picks and I hope she listens to this. My wife picks and chooses what she wants to do when she does it. And then she's the first one to tell everybody she owns the place. Shirley's back there laughing.
That's usually all the wines.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you're busted too now. And then, then me, and then my oldest stepson is our vineyard manager, and he's been dabbling a little bit on the winemaking stuff as well. We have 2 other sons that we're hoping at some point would be able to get involved. Grandkids, definitely looking for them when they get a little. We got like 6 of them right now. As soon as they get big enough to get in there and start mowing the lawn or something, they're in. And my vineyard manager's father-in-law, my daughter-in-law's dad, works here part-time. He just retired and started working here. And then, my bottling crew are like all best friends and relatives and stuff like that work on Saturday.
That's amazing working with family.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, it's got its plus and minus.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. But it's really kind of cool. It's kind of cool though because like for holidays and stuff, we're all getting on the
for
table,
sure.
Drinking wine, talking about it.
It is
blah,
the best
blah.
time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
The holidays.
fires in the summer.
Yeah, well, you know, we used to, before the winery started, we used to have family day like twice a month. It was every Sunday, twice a month. And all the kids would come, and we would just take picnic tables, set them outside if the weather was nice, just have a big old feast. Well, now that the winery's open on Sunday, we don't do that anymore. Plus, Casey, our vineyard manager, he's here 5 days a week. He doesn't want to come here on day 6. He's sick and tired of seeing the place. But hopefully it'll change when we're building a new production facility. I think Shirley had mentioned to you that right now all of our tanks and equipment is in my garage. And it has been since we started because we didn't have the money to build anything. And our garage was big enough to accommodate it, but we've outgrown it. So we're building a brand new building out by Broken Bottle, which is the one that's over in the Dells. And that'll be like 5 times the size of the space I have now with giant ceilings and stuff. So then that'll be a new place for us to go to work. So instead of coming here all the time. Yeah.
All right, man. So you can invite the people to come to your place. So tell us the name of the brand and where it is.
Okay.
So
we got 2 places. The mothership is Baraboo Bluff Winery. It's been around since 2015. It has probably one of the, I'm not going to say the best view in the state of Wisconsin for wineries, but definitely one of the top 5, because you can see for like 30 miles, and it's a huge, beautiful panoramic view. So if you're looking for a place, we have sophisticated wines here, well-established, a lot of award-winning wines, and again, the view is spectacular. When you come out, we're in the town of Baraboo. We're about 20 minutes or 15 minutes away from the water parks in the Dells, not downtown Dells. And tastings are $5. You normally get 10 wines in a tasting, and we encourage people to bring out picnics and sit on the hill and take on the view. During the summertime, we usually have blankets out there. We don't have live music here because it's kind of more of a enjoy the area winery. Broken Bottle, same thing. We've got a wine tasting up there. I think it's like 9 wines right now, 9 or 10. $5 again for the tasting, and that's a really sweet deal because you end up like 2 full glasses of wine by the time that tasting's over with. Especially if you have Judy. Ask for Judy if you come in because she pours heavy. She's a heavy pourer. We talk to her all the time. We're like, Judy, come on, man. Killing me here. Anyways, so Broken Bottle Winery, and that's kind of more of what we call our redneck winery. So we got a stage out there. We got music 2 times every Saturday and Sunday throughout the summer. It's got a nice stage out there. Oh, I said that already. And the wines are a little bit more fun than they're here. They're not as sophisticated, I guess. We have all like these redneck names for them, like we have a redneck rosé. We have a hillbilly holiday, which is a spiced wine that we could serve warm. So it's just kind of a more fun atmosphere. And for the ladies, right next door is this giant antique mall, craft mall, called the Wisconsin Dells Craft Mall Antique Mall. It's huge. I mean, it takes you like an hour to walk through the thing. So you got a little, and then you can get a glass of wine and walk over there and shop while you're drinking, and then come back and top up. And, yeah, so it's a cool place. It's fun, and it's really close to the Dells. I mean, it's like if it wasn't for the interstate, you could probably walk from Kalahari, but it's probably 3 minutes from Kalahari. Great Wolf. Yeah, man. So again, thank you guys for stopping out.
Well, thank you for having us here, man.
Thank you very much for letting us do this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Y sin más que decir, pues nos vemos en un próximo Coffee Break Podcast presenta
Wine edition. Wine edition.